Good morning.
Oh, Nicole, so glad to have you back. I guess I should mention that this is the first podcast we've done together in about 4 years.
It was the second podcast we've ever done together.
Real estate agent man. Yes. Okay.
Let's be real.
Well, then there's that too. But I got to tell you, that podcast we did 4 years ago, one of our top listened to and viewed on YouTube podcasts.
Really?
Yes. Well, the topic, where should I live in Sarasota County?
That's a pretty good topic.
Certainly a searchable, name.
The SEO on that is fabulous.
Yes. And then also, I think that just having you involved in the podcast, you are so upbeat and certainly not afraid of a microphone.
You are too kind.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I know that too. Anyway, so as we are going into the second podcast and we're talking about VA benefits, what would you say would be the main points that we're hoping to make in this podcast so the listener knows if they should bother listening?
I would say that the main point that we really want to drive home is that when the government doesn't care, we still do. We have family members that have served many years, if not, decades of their life in the military, going many generations back. And this is a very important subject for us. And we really have a heart for it. And I hope that they get that from what we have to say today.
Okay. And the point that I would want to make, don't give up hope. No matter what's going on, whatever you're hearing in the news, because there's a lot of conversation about the changes going on this summer. Changes are happening like right now, going into effect. I believe August 17th is like when they're flipping the switch on some things. And so if it sounds like it's doomsday for you as a buyer, it's not. You just have to call us and we will help get you through this.
Good point.
Thank you. Here we are to talk about Veterans Affairs.
Woo!
Normally not a super fun topic, but a very important one. Very important one. And as usual, it appears in this country we are taking care of other people better than we are our own military veterans.
That seems to be quite a trend.
Yeah. And we're just going to specifically talk about housing. I know there's a lot of different areas that our veterans suffer in, but they have a new one to suffer in, thanks to lawsuits and courts and government decisions.
Oh, do tell.
Yes. So we're going to play this little clip that explains from the National Association of Realtors Advocacy Group in a nutshell what's going on. But before we do that, did you hear the name I said? Advocacy Group? So they're supposed to be advocating for the needs of homeowners, home buyers, and home sellers, and also real estate professionals.
Okay.
And so that, they lobby Washington to try and get things done to make life better for people. So keep that in mind. Also keep in mind that after we play this clip, you're not going to hear me agreeing with what the content of this clip is.
So there won't be any applause afterwards?
Not from me.
No standing ovations?
Not from me.
Okay.
Not at all. Okay, so here we go.
Welcome to the Advocacy Scoop, the podcast that takes you inside the advocacy work of the National Association of Realtors, connecting 1.5 million members with their advocates in Washington for a front row seat to the fight for public policy that strengthens the ability of Americans to access property ownership.
As our members know, the VA's Home Loan Guarantee Program is the only program that explicitly bans buyers from directly paying for professional real estate representation. In light of the settlement, NAR launched an all-hands advocacy effort on this issue. We met with VA officials, engaged with lawmakers, and rallied all of our industry partners to get this prohibition lifted. Now, I'm happy to report that since this live episode was recorded, the VA signaled plans to temporarily lift this ban until they deem it necessary to engage in a formal rulemaking process. This is a huge win for veterans and for NAR. And as Shannon noted, this is also a testament to those thousands of realtors who came to DC with a unified message. Without this change, veteran buyers could be denied access to professional representation and all the negative consequences that come with that in their pursuit of the American dream of home ownership.
Wow. Wow, that's not what I expected.
Yeah, well, the problem is that they think that's a win. They think that by saying that now they are allowing veterans to pay for their own buyer's representation, that is somehow a win. Keep in mind that veterans have never paid for buyer's representation.
Yeah, isn't that one of the perks?
That is supposed to be one of the perks when you go serve your country. When you get back, you get an extremely unique opportunity for the American dream. So the idea is that you can purchase a house with 0% down.
No private mortgage insurance.
Yeah, no PMI, right? So that helps that. And not only did you ever not have to pay for your own buyer's agency representation, you knew that you couldn't, right? And that was okay because the way the system has been set up for many decades is that the listing agency, the listing brokerage paid for that. And I know that as you're listening to this, listener out there, that you may be thinking, well, I thought the seller was paying for it. No, the seller has never paid for the buyer's representation. That's how it's been presented. So let's take a trip down memory lane for all of you who have sold a house before. You've signed a listing agreement with a brokerage, let's just say Remax. And you're signing that listing agreement, and on there is a commission amount that you agree to. No gun has been held to your head. You're like, okay, I want to hire you to handle this transaction for me, the marketing, negotiating, the whole thing. And anything else that you say is going to be a part of that deal. And that is what you are paying as a seller once Remax sells your house. Now, what Remax does is they say, we want to make sure that every other agent out there, Century 21, Keller Williams, Coldwell Banker, anybody out there, has as much motivation to sell your house as I do. What happens is at that point, in that listing agreement, that agent is saying, okay, if you are offering this percent, we are saying we will take a portion of that, often half, but it didn't have to be half, and we will offer that to any agency out there that might bring the buyer. Because we know that although we have a lot of buyers and we're very good at selling houses, we don't have every buyer. In fact, there's 11,000 agents in Sarasota County that have been trying to sell houses in Sarasota County. Our brokerage only has 100 of them, right? So we want to do everything that we can to entice other people to want to buy your house.
Well, yes, and buyer's agents aren't going to work for free. I mean, nobody works for free. That would be a charity, right?
Yes. And I have not seen like a real estate foundation that says, we will handle all of your real estate transactions at no cost.
Well, there's a lot of stuff that goes into that, a lot of liability that, just with any other job, when you accept those responsibilities, you expect to be compensated for them. And that's how we pay our electric bill. It's just the way the world works.
Just like everybody else. So with all that said, the commission has always not been an issue for a VA buyer, right? Because any buyer could have the same level of representation. It didn't matter if you were buying a $100,000 mobile home or if you were buying $1 million condo on the beach.
Yeah, there was no discrimination.
I like that, no discrimination. And if you were a veteran who, in their whole makeup of their benefits, they're not allowed. It's the only group of buyers that I'm aware of that is not allowed to pay for their own representation.
Well, and I think that's to protect them from anyone trying to get them to pay it. You can just flat out say, I'm not allowed to pay it, and that shuts that right up.
Right. So we have been protecting our veterans for protecting us, and now we're not.
Oh, but now they can pay for it themselves.
Yeah, well, now they have to.
All right. But they have the opportunity. Isn't that great?
Yeah,
Isn't that fantastic?
No, I don't think that's great. And actually, they don't necessarily have to, because there's still plenty of smart sellers out there that are offering compensation, enough compensation to their listing agent that affords the listing agent the opportunity to offer it to somebody else. But think about it. If you were only wanting to pay a listing agent 1% of your purchase price, would there be any amount of money that listing agent would even be able to afford to offer to anybody else?
after marketing expenses, gas expenses, and
General expenses.
fees to
Yes.
your brokerage per listing. Yeah,
Yes.
no, you would be wiped out in most cases.
Right. So I see some of the stuff on the MLS. I mean, there are people that have been able to negotiate with a listing agent such a small percentage that percentage being offered to all other agents is really small. I've seen a couple where they offered $100 to a buyer's agent.
I've only ever seen that on rentals.
No, I've seen it on sales.
Wow.
Okay. That's not the norm. And I don't believe it's going to be the norm. But what if that house was the perfect house for a veteran? So that veteran sees that house. He sees it maybe on Zillow or something, right? And he calls an agent and he wants to have that agent show him that house. And that agent immediately sees that they're only offering $100 in compensation. I can't afford to work for $100.
No.
Okay?
No, you spend months. No, you spend months. No, you spend.
That's how non-good this solution is. It's not a solution.
Horrifying, maybe.
What?
Horrifyingly
Yes.
awful.
Yes, it's horrifyingly awful. Awful. Horrifying did that. So my biggest concern in this is that veterans, as they're hearing all this, are going to start to believe that they can't be represented.
The fact is that when they signed up, they were told that they weren't going to have to do this.
Yes. Yes. We know a veteran, whose name we won't mention, who, after spending 8 years in the military, is now 95% disabled.
Yes.
Right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Are you telling me that person shouldn't get every possible opportunity to own a home?
Apparently, that's what they're telling us.
Yeah. So our solution is to make up for the lack of government help. And we've put it out there in writing. It's on our website that if you are a veteran and you need representation and you are in our area, that we will represent you as a buyer's agent and we will not charge you anything beyond what the listing agent may be offering.
Even if that's only $100.
Even if it's $100, even if it's zero. Okay? I am hoping that the majority are not going to start doing that, like offering $100.
So we are actually going to be doing a charitable
Yes.
thing for our veterans.
Yes. I don't know if we'll get a tax write-off for it or anything, but it doesn't matter. It does not matter. And I don't know how many agents actually listen to my podcast across the country, but I do hope that other people are having the same idea, because our veterans need to be taken care of. And if it's the citizens who need to take care of them, then it's the citizens who need to take care of them if the government's not going to.
Oh, I agree with you. And yeah, if every agent or every agency would do what we were talking about doing, which was at least one a month we could represent.
Yeah, well, at this point, I don't want to put like a certain amount per month. I want to wait and see what happens, okay? Obviously, if we were to have like all veteran customers and every listing agency decided to stop offering compensation, we couldn't stay in business.
Well, of course, but my point was this, that if we do it, and we do, let's say, a handful a year or however many a year we do, they can't be all of our customers, but if all of the agents were doing this and we were all working together, then our veterans would still be taken care of.
Yes. Okay, so be of good cheer. There is still hope for you getting a house. Well, we did it, Nicole. Podcast number 2.
I cannot even believe it.
Only took 4 years, and I am looking forward to many more.
Well, thank you for having me.
Oh, and I should also say to all the listeners out there, because we have been downloaded in like 700 cities across 50 countries and territories. So if you are listening in Hungary or Japan or Switzerland, I know that people have downloaded us in all these different countries. It's incredible. We thank you for listening.
And have a great day.
Wanna own a place like the ones you've seen, maybe near the beach or a golf course green. You're searching on the web and housing magazines. It's time you call Steve Martin Homes to reach your dreams. We sell Sarasota.
Scooby Snap.